So, did y'all know that Ivy League schools out here getting 9 billion from the government? Now, when I seen this story, it blew my mind because one, like, let's just, let's just talk about like, transparency, right? There's a lot of things that we, as the American people, we don't know what's going on. Now, some people will say, they'll say like, well, it's not really our job to know what's going on and stuff like that. Now, me personally, I would call bullshit on that because it's like at the end of the day, we're not children. We're grown adults. Well, I know I am. I don't know. I know a lot of the people out here, they really don't operate like grown adults. They operate like little crybabies. But I want to know what's going on, honestly. So, I want to share this, and we're going to review just a little bit of this because I'm going to try to find the exact story in regards to this. But you got it's a little playback beforehand, okay? So, just we going to rock. Hey, what up, though, bro? My man's in the building. What up, though? Let me show y'all what I'm talking about. Yo, my man Charles been rocking with your boy for a minute now. Hey, dog, I appreciate you for the love, most definitely. So I had to give my man a shout out real quick. But let's get cracking with this. With these crazy people.
Good afternoon, everybody. I apologize for my tardiness, but I came directly from the Oval. I have some newsy updates to share from the president, which I know you all very much value and appreciate. So let's get to it. The president promised millions of Christians across the country on the campaign trail that he would create a White House faith office when he returned to the White House, and he has delivered on that promise. The White House Faith Office has put together an extraordinary week-long celebration currently underway for Holy Week ahead of Easter Sunday. The president signed a Holy Week proclamation, filmed a special presidential video message, and will be hosting a pre-Easter dinner tomorrow night and a White House staff Easter worship service on Thursday.
I don't want to listen to this, but real quick, I want to see something. I don't know. Let me see. Can y'all see this? Let me blow this up for y'all, cause I want y'all to be able to see it. So, can y'all see this little white area right here? Y'all need to see my damn cursor. But it's a Trump's robust Holy Week celebration comes after the Biden White House declared Easter 2024 Transgender Day for visibility. Hey, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. But we don't really give a fuck about none of that. We about to fast forward because in this briefing, I watched like a little piece of it. They basically, I want to go over this part because this part was kind of crazy because they about to go into like some of the people that they deported, but it's real crazy because like what they actually about to say. Let me get this off the screen real quick because we're not even talking about the Ivy League school stuff yet, so we can bring that back up in a minute. But they was talking about the people that they deported, but when you hear what they got to, like the crimes that they was convicted of, all of them is kind of the same. We gonna talk about it.
Examples from the latest ICE report, which I received this morning. ICE Los Angeles arrested a 54-year-old citizen of Mexico convicted of rape.
Look at the very first word. Very first word. I said that wrong. Word. It's the R word. So it's like, okay, like what the fuck be wrong with these people? And then the last word of a child, right? So I just wanted to point this out real quick.
Rape by threat, sodomy with a person under 14 years, and kidnapping in San Jose, California. ICE Houston has arrested a 23-year-old citizen of Mexico convicted of predatory criminal sexual assault of a child in Cook County, Illinois. ICE Houston arrested a 64-year-old citizen of Honduras convicted of murder in Los Angeles County, California.
Now, real quick, looking at this, there's not a delay in what you're seeing right here. I don't know why they had the pictures mixed up with what they were saying. Like it wasn't aligned, but eventually it's gonna catch up. So, but once again, SA of a child. It's like all these people always going after kids. Like that'd be the one thing that be blowing my mind. Like don't get me wrong, like of course all the crimes they commit is like just heinous in general. But it's like, why are they going after kids? Like, what is this fascination with grown ass men with kids, bro? That shit really just be blowing me. Like, what?
California. ICE Chicago arrested a 49-year-old citizen of Guatemala convicted of assault and arson in Prince Williams, Virginia, not far from here. ICE Denver arrested a 36-year-old citizen of Mexico who is registered as a sex offender and has been convicted of sexual assault of a child in Lake County, Colorado. ICE Baltimore arrested a 50-year-old citizen of China convicted of sex trafficking in Bel Air, Maryland. And ICE Boston.
Hey, he smoked cigarettes and he like, man, they didn't caught me in this bitch. Don't he look like that? Like they didn't caught me. Damn.
Arrested a 46-year-old citizen of Jamaica convicted of 3 counts of rape of a child and 2 counts of indecent assault and battery of a child under 14 in Boston, Massachusetts. President Trump and our administration will not rest until every single violent illegal alien is removed from our country. The safety of the American people is too important to settle for anything less. Morin.
Fast forward.
And if you didn't see yesterday, a Maryland jury found illegal alien Victor Antonio Martinez Hernandez guilty of murdering Rachel Morin in August of 2023. She was a 37-year-old mother of 5 who was jogging in an otherwise safe community northeast of Baltimore when this monster ambushed, strangled, and beat her to death before stuffing her brutalized body in a tunnel drain.
Bro, did you hear that? Like, the level of violence these dudes be on, like that shit be, it's bold. You feel what I'm saying? And like, one of the reasons on like why I always like to hear both sides on like arguments is because you typically hear different points, right? But as you know, men, we articulate and we think for ourselves. I always sit back and think like, okay, why do people in general, why do they, like with the whole thing that's been happening with Trump and the deportation and everything like that, why are people fighting so hard for like these immigrants when like a lot of the immigrants, like they brought certain things over here and it's like it's kind of like it messed up like our norm. Like I remember I heard a thing about what was it, measles, if I'm not mistaken, like because the kids that were coming over here and that was getting put into the schools, like they didn't have like the measles vaccinations, so they was bringing measles back into the school. You got immigrants that's causing chaos like that. And don't get me wrong, I do know that the media, they put out certain messages because it scares the public in certain ways to where like they run, they operate in a certain way because like, oh, the news said this. But it's like when you still hear, you be like, damn, bro, like they doing all of that and like people arguing for that. Like just me personally, I really don't see the benefit of having illegal immigrants over here. Like I just don't. So like I never understood why they really argued that point on like, free them. And I remember I got into it wasn't necessarily an argument, but it was like kind of like a back and forth on Facebook where I had posted something. I can't remember. I don't know if it was in regards to like a president or what. I don't know what it was. But one of the dudes, like he's an associate. He's out in like Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. And he was like, how could you vote for him, or he's putting kids in prison camps, and he said some shit like that, and it blew me because it was like, and I had to tell dog, I'm like, hold on. I was like, to be completely honest with you, me and my people got some so much more important to worry about. Like me as a black man in America, I ain't got time to be worried about that over there. Like it doesn't necessarily directly affect me, but I gotta focus on me and what I gotta do for my own, my own people, subgroup people, whatever. I ain't got time for that. Like, and that be the thing that I really be like standing on. It's like if you not gonna actually go down there and do something, why do all this bitching and complaining when you not gonna be the one that actually does anything? You feel what I'm saying? Like you should do this, you should do. It's like, well, nigga, you go do it then, or stop complaining.
The Morin family finally got justice yesterday, but they will never get Rachel back. Our hearts go out to Rachel's family, her 5 children, and her mother, Patty, who has suffered the unimaginable loss of her daughter. In case you missed it last week, President Trump signed a national security presidential memorandum directing federal agencies administering federal land on the border to make land available to the Defense Department in a new national defense area. This followed the president's day one executive order committing his.
All right, listen, we don't want to hear about that. We want to hear about, because they about to talk about a bunch of different topics in here, which is cool. But I want to get directly to the school. So let me find that real
I think
quick.
appreciate what you're doing with the new media seat here and making this more accessible.
I think he gonna bring
I'm
it
curious
up.
with Harvard. We saw
Bam. So they about to talk about it right now. Now we all know Ivy League schools, right? Harvard, Yale, Princeton. You know, like these schools that super expensive to get into. Not super, they're super expensive and they're hard to get into. We talking, 4.0, you talking, you got to have somebody that went there, and all this other stuff. Super, super hard. But let's rock.
the Trump administration today announced it's cutting around $2 billion, or freezing $2 billion in funds to Harvard because the campus has serious problems with violence and with anti-Semitism. We saw former President Obama, side with Harvard, which rejected the Trump administration's demands. I'm curious, where does the administration see this going with Harvard and with other colleges and universities in America that are refusing to reform in wake of the sort of craziness that we've seen take over some of them?
Thank you, Matt, for being here, and thanks for the question. When it comes to Harvard, the president's position on this is grounded in common sense, in the basic principle that Jewish American students, or students of any faith, should not be illegally harassed and targeted on our nation's college campuses. And we unfortunately saw that illegal discrimination take place on the campus of Harvard. There are countless examples to prove it, particularly with the stunning confession by then Harvard President Claudine Gay, who said that bullying and harassment depended on the context. The president at that time made it clear to the American public he was not going to tolerate illegal harassment and anti-Semitism taking place in violations of federal law. So the president made it clear to Harvard, follow federal law, no longer break Title VI, which was passed by Congress to ensure no student can be discriminated against on the basis of race, and you will receive federal funding. Unfortunately, Harvard has not taken the president or the administration's demands seriously. All the president is asking, don't break federal law, and then you can have your federal funding. I think the president is also begging a good question. More than $2 billion out the door to Harvard when they have a more than $50 billion endowment. Why are the American taxpayers subsidizing a university that has billions of dollars in the bank already? And we certainly should not be funding a place where such grave anti-Semitism exists.
And I'm curious, you had just mentioned Rachel Morin, and I'm a Maryland man, and I think most Marylanders
They got a lot of money, boy. 50 bill.
appreciate what you were saying today. We've seen that Chris Van Hollen, who was Rachel Morin's senator, basically threatening to fly to El Salvador to press for the release of someone who was in America illegally. What and not.
All right, now what he's going into now, he's going into I don't know if y'all heard about it, but it was a dude that got so he got deported illegally or something like I guess he was supposed to be an actual US citizen, but he got deported by mistake, and like Trump not trying to get him back. So I actually got a whole nother video that dives further into it, but let's just see what he got to say, because I actually haven't even seen this part yet. So let's dive into that.
As much sort of from him about Rachel Morin's horrific murder and the verdict that was, I think, rightly reached yesterday. What does the administration think about the priorities we're seeing from Senate Democrats in terms of illegal immigrants instead of the work that agencies like ICE and DHS are doing with the Trump administration?
It's my.
All right, no, my bad. He ain't talking about it. But y'all, what do y'all think about that? Far as with the college, and far as they taking funding away from, I think he said, they took $2 billion, they took it away or whatever, and Harvard, like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't necessarily feel no type of way in regards to like some of the stuff. I honestly believe that we as regular people, we don't really care about a lot of that stuff. It's still interesting to see it, to be aware of it, to see exactly what's going on, because to understand that the government is actually giving, 9 billion, 2 billion, however many billions over to an Ivy League school that already has a substantial amount of money. It's kind of like, all right, why is our money going there? That's honestly what I think in a lot of cases, because I remember growing up when people always say, "Oh, like our tax dollars is going there," and all this BS about tax dollars, right? But it's interesting to see like some places get our money even though they don't necessarily need it, and they have other funds from other places, and then they make it so expensive to go there. But it's like it's so expensive, but yet y'all getting subsidized from the government. It's just, it's kind of like basically, if you think about it, Harvard on government assistance too, so they basically like a BB. If anybody don't know what a BB is, it's a bro bitch. I crack myself up sometimes. I swear. Let's move on. Like I said, I got another one for y'all that we got to dive into because it was really interesting. So,
Do you plan to
like I
ask
say,
President?
the level of transparency from this administration is actually very interesting, because in my lifetime, in our lifetime, I don't remember any president being this transparent. It's like Trump is just putting on the show, like, yo, we're going to let the American people see exactly what's going on behind the scenes. We're not going to hide anything from them. We're going to let them know what's cracking. Me personally, I can appreciate that, because it's like we live here, we pay, we got to pay, and we are part of this system and everything like that. And it's like, why not let us know what's going on? Why keep the blinds closed, and it's just treat us like we're children? I don't really rock with that. You feel what I'm saying? It just, I don't rock with it. I really don't. Before we hop into this next topic, see what my man said. He said, I think that's crazy as hell that they're giving that school that has $50 billion even more money when they are letting HBCUs go down the drain. No, see, I can't fully agree with that, Charles. I can't, because just for my little bit of information, that we're learning. One, Trump has given HBCUs, he funded them more money than any other president in history, right? That's one. But then two, and of course, you can search it real quick too, just to fact check me. You feel what I'm saying? But two, when people graduate from colleges, like the alumni, they're supposed to like donate back to the schools. And I remember hearing something a while ago. It was like that was one of the issues that um was with the HBCUs. Like basically the people who graduate, they're not donating back to the schools to keep the infrastructure up and stuff like that. But a lot of the other schools, when people graduate and they become, get into their careers, they doing real good, they donate back to the school, and that's what really builds them up. So I don't necessarily know if it's like a them issue. I could be wrong, but I honestly believe it. I think it might be a us issue, because I honestly believe we got enough money to do what we want to do. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be donating no money. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the government shouldn't be allocating a certain amount of funds to go towards these schools or whatever. But one of the things that I typically like to do is I don't even like to just, I'm not emotional about things. Like I said, I stopped that. I like to look at, okay, how do they allocate the funds? Like what are the requirements and stipulations that they put in place to say, okay, this school get this amount of money, this school gets this amount, and then why? Like, is it dealing with like research? Is it dealing with like the type of faculty? Is it dealing with the type of graduation rates, or like what? That's typically like those small details. You feel what I'm saying? Because then it will make more sense, and then it's like we can get away from being emotional about stuff, and then just have a deeper understanding. Like, okay, I get why they doing this, and then okay, if they fulfill these requirements, then they will get more funds allocated for them.